Hey everybody, it's Kim Moberg here with my very special guest, Miss Genevieve. It's so nice to see you, Genevieve. How are you?
It, I am good. I am good. How are you?
I am just
I'm
ducky.
showered, so I feel like
Ah, that's a good thing. We are so happy you did that.
my standards got very low during quarantine.
Yeah, I showered too, although I am wearing my fuzzy socks. So, yeah, I'm nice and comfy. I'm nice and Neil. Hi, Neil. Neil, is this the right place? It is the right place. Did I not start on time? I thought I did. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. So the background there looks lovely. Absolutely lovely. You guys did a great.
No, I can't take any credit for it, actually. Except
You
that it's
just-
clean.
Excellent.
That's about all I can contribute. I clean it.
Are we going to see any puppy visits tonight?
Possibly, if Ethan lets him out of the cave. He gets locked away normally during these because he has a habit of wanting to sit on mom's lap while mom is playing, and that's a
Little
little
tough.
hard. Yeah. If he was a true lap dog, it wouldn't be quite so difficult, but
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
60-pound dog in your lap when you're trying to play the piano is
Makes just a little difficult, right? Although he might add some good harmony. I don't know. I don't know, but at any rate, I'm so glad that you're here. You guys, we're going to be playing some songs for you tonight and sharing some stories and getting to know Genevieve just a little bit. And along the bottom, I'm going to have websites going and PayPals and Venmos. And as always, the stream is free, but donations are happily and gratefully accepted. And Genevieve, you want to start us out with a song?
Sure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to sing?
All right, I'm going to sing a song. I don't do it very often, mostly because I don't know why. Actually, I don't even have a good reason for you. I just don't. I was kind of a standing joke for a very long time that the only songs that I wrote, even relationship songs, were sad and depressing songs.
Oh, I love it.
So I wrote a non-sad and depressing relationship song.
Was that hard?
And yes, actually. Which makes me wonder about my relationship statuses. No, I don't know. They always felt very disingenuous for whatever reason. Not because I didn't have the feelings, but just because when I was expressing them in song, they just, I don't know. I don't know if you experienced that as well, but they just seemed.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. It's not just me. I'm not just a
Oh,
horribly
goodness,
jaded
no.
person.
Oh, no. 90%, 95% of the songs I write are sad songs. And I tell people it's because I'm a happy person. I have a blessed life. I have a great family. And I think part of that is because I get all the sad stuff out when I'm writing,
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta come out somewhere. You can't keep it bottled. I mean, it's gotta go. Anyway, so yeah, the song is, well, it's called Better, but I might end up retitling it. We'll see. But that's what it's called right now. And it's not
Okay.
recorded yet. So actually, I think every
Brand
single
new.
song that I'm playing tonight, possibly with the exception of one, two haven't been recorded. In fact, two of them are new. Like, finished writing them this morning.
Brand new. Oh,
Really
I
brand
love
new.
it.
So I had
See,
to shoot
that's very,
music for them.
that is a courageous thing to do. So,
Well, my feeling is if I can't perform them, I shouldn't be writing them, I guess. I don't know. It's more or less just test it out and see if people respond to it. They might be like, that's a terrible song. In which case, I will not continue writing it. I'm like working on it if people all hate it.
and that's never, ever happened to you.
No, it has actually.
Really? I can't
Well,
even imagine that.
I actually have one song on my first CD that is actually, I love. And most people that have heard it are like, it's just so sad. I just don't like it. And I'm like, I love it so.
So play it anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is one of my happy little love songs.
I love you doesn't seem to say enough to show you how I feel for you. And I am stumbling to let you know before you go. I'm fumbling to find the phrase, but it's so easy. If I could create the person I want by my side, you'd be the artistry of my imagination. I wouldn't make you any better if I could. I couldn't make you any better if I tried. Wouldn't change a thing. No, I wouldn't change a thing If I could touch you just to show you that I mean the words I say, I wouldn't ever let you go. I hold you to my heart and let you in that door I couldn't open up before, and let the feelings flow. I know that what you are is all you have to give. Believe me when I say it's all I'm after. I wouldn't make you any better if I could. I couldn't make you any better if I tried. Wouldn't change a thing, no, I couldn't change a thing, 'cause you're perfect the way you are. Yeah, you're perfect the way you are. The way you are. The way you are.
So wonderful. I didn't even put a bridge in it. It's like,
Lovely. Oh, I don't need a bridge this time. That's love. Were you singing about me? No.
it was. Because you're perfect just the way you are.
That is a happy song. Good for you.
It was like, I get them out every once in a while, like once every 4 years.
That's how I feel. You know, every once in a while it pops up. I'm like, really? Look at that. A happy song. Yay.
And you grab it because you're like, this might not come around for another decade. So
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Hey, we've got some friends here too. If you want to take a look at the comments. Neil's here. Eileen says, hello all. Perry says, oh, puppy. Puppy, yes. Yay. Oh, and Marilyn's here too. And Ronnie. Yay, Ronnie. And then my sister is here and family from Delaware.
nice.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. And, you know, I love doing these kind of song swap things because I think I have a set list ready. And then, you know, the person I'm performing with plays a song and it's like, oh, no, now I have to follow that with a different song. So
Yeah.
it kind of keeps you a little bit on your toes. Just
That's
a
why I
little
didn't even
bit.
bother. I have a list of like 10 songs, and I said, well, this might end up getting completely, because exactly what you said. You sort of, you riff off of each other, you could balance each other, and you say, oh, well, this would be a good song to follow that one with.
A
as
little
opposed
bit.
to, this is my set.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm going to kick it off with a song that my husband and I have been married for 26 and a half years. And for our 25th year, I wrote a song for him. And it's on, this one has been recorded. It's on my second CD. The song is called Wrapped Inside Your Love, and the CD is titled Up Around the Bend. So and I'm working tech, so we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this. There we go. Your love surrounds me like a blanket, so soft and warm. From the moment that I felt it, I knew where I belong. The last time before I fall asleep, the first when I awake, your voice the only one I'll ever need, wrapped inside your love. All that I am and all I will be, I give to you. With this promise now, a family, one heart come to. The last sound before I fall asleep. The first when I awake. Your voice the only one I'll ever need. Wrapped inside your love. And as we journey toward the twilight, still hand in hand, ever with you right here by my side, through every grain of sand. The last sound before I fall asleep, and the first when I awake. Your voice the only one I'll ever need, wrapped inside your love. Your love. Your love.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. Ah, thank you.
That was
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Maybe one day I will have one for a husband, but I have been engaged twice and not married, so I don't have a good track record.
Well, I can tell you it's worth the wait. I got married. What it would have been considered old maid in the olden days. So, I was not young, but that's all right. It happened when it happened when it was supposed to happen. So, yay! Thank you, Neil, and thank you, Ronnie. That's terrific. Now, tell me, how do you write songs? What is your people often ask me, is the lyric first? Is the music first? What happens?
It is completely dependent on the song. I can't say that I have a specific process because Neil's written some songs. There's Ethan Tarasov is on here. He's written songs with me, and I wrote the song. Actually, the next song not the next one, but one of the songs I'm going to play, I wrote with Tom Satterau, and they're all different. Sometimes it's like a riff, and I start with that, and then just everything. Like one of the fastest songs I ever wrote, which ended up being one of my most licensed songs for film and television, was like a half hour. I just sat down and did this little, and then the words just came from there. And I didn't even know. I just kept playing it over and over. And then I've had songs where I had lyrics first, and I just couldn't figure out what the music was going to be. And then I have songs where I start the lyrics and then create a melody, but I don't finish the lyrics, and so I basically screw myself over because then I'm like, now the rest of the lyrics have to fit with this melody, and it gets very challenging.
That's hard, yeah.
Yeah, and I should learn that I should do one or the other first and just finish it. But it is hard, I think. Like the music, I think it can be challenging when you write the music first versus the lyrics. I think because you do, and I tend to get very fluid with the way that I sing my lyrics, though. So I have learned over the years that I don't have to stick with a specific cadence. I can play around with where I put my syllables and
of course,
how
yes.
long or short I make them.
Yes.
Yes, and I also get very creative with my rhyming. I have some rather loose rhyming in some of my songs. I'm like, it's close enough.
Laurie McKenna calls it a soft rhyme.
Yes,
I like that term.
Exactly.
That's a soft rhyme.
It's a hint of a line.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it's-
I like this. The next song I'm actually going to play, which I wrote with this Ethan, who is on.
Hi,
This is the
Ethan.
first time I'm playing this. It's called "What You Do to Me," and it is, speaking of love, and it actually is another love song, and it's sort of
Look at that.
I know. This is like a questionable love song, though. It's not like it's kind of happy, but it's that kind of new love thing where you're still questioning and not quite sure about everything, and you're still a little nervous. But yeah, so this started with the hook, which was literally I had a line, and I was like, I need to create a song
Around this line.
this.
Yeah.
And so we did.
I do it the hard way. I do it.
you?
I did. People have heard me say this before, but my guitar is more like a Ouija board. Everything kind of comes to that first. You know, you put your hands on it, and it's like things come out. And same with this. That I was just playing over and over again. I'm like, what's that? What's
Yeah.
that? And then you play it a bunch of times, and then a melody usually comes second for me, and it's the lyrics that are like the killer. Like, what the heck is this about? You know, and so you're just humming it, and all of a sudden, you know, a phrase comes out. And you're like, yes, that's it. That's where I'm going with this. Yeah. But isn't it an interesting? It's like a gift. It's so exciting when you finish a song, whether it's taken a year or whether it's one that just kind of blobs out.
There is no, it's like, you're grateful for all of them. You know, when it blobs out, you're like, oh, this is amazing. That was so easy. Why can't it all be like that? And then there's other ones that I have songs that I have still not finished that are 10, 15 years old. And I'm like, I just can't quite, I have the melody, I have the chord, I have most of it, but there are just a few lines that are just not right.
And you know it has to feel
exactly,
right.
Exactly. And you go back to it and you fiddle around. I've rewritten some of my songs probably 15 times. In fact, a song that I had written a long time ago, I ended up rewriting quite a few of the lyrics when my brother passed away because it just seemed so fitting and appropriate for him, to him, and about him in many ways. And it made more sense. Like there was always some part of the bridge I didn't like. There was a part of the verse I didn't like that I just wasn't sitting right. And so I ended up going back and I was like, now it works. You know?
And I feel like they're kind of floating around out there. One of my favorite quotes is James Taylor. Somebody was complimenting him on his songwriting, and he said, "I was just the first to hear it." You know, and I liked that because that's kind of how it is. You know, it's like it comes to you like wee. You know, and I haven't been doing it nearly as long as you have. I wrote my first song in 2014, so not very long ago.
Well, I know. I mean, I started. I think. Okay, so technically, I wrote my first song when I was in 7th or 8th grade, and it was. I wish I still. I'm sure somewhere, if I really dug it up, I could probably find it. And it was about the ocean, and it was just a very earnest.
Awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a very earnest 12-year-old writing about saving the planet and the oceans and how important it was. And I was like, this is so telling of me.
I was gonna say, and look where, you know, and that was
right.
just like a premonition, right?
Yeah, it was actually fairly awful, but it's a cool melody, terrible lyrics. Whatever. But then I stopped. I used to fiddle on the piano and play around, and I sang, but not my own stuff. I didn't put another lyric to music till I was 23 or 24.
So last year.
Yeah, right.
Yep, last year. So we'll talk more about this because this is interesting to me. And, you know, Brenda says, you know, I love hearing about the processes. So that's really cool. So tell us about this one, the name of it.
Okay, so it's called "What You Do to Me," and like I said, it came off of this riff of this cool, which was very frustrating for me, and thank God that Ethan is very patient because I'm terrible at reading music. I can do the basic chords, you know, sevenths, ninths, in my majors, minors, but like when you start getting diminished and all that stuff, I get a little fuzzy, and I should know them all at this point, and I still don't. And yeah, and I admit it. And I'll be playing things, and I'm like, what chord is this? And Ethan was like, it's this, and I'm like,
Oh, okay.
okay, good to know. Because I am definitely the person who'll write out what are the 3 fingers I'm using right now. I'm like,
Oh, see, I do the same thing with guitar.
Yeah.
A
If
lot
I
of
can't-
times I don't know I have no idea. Just because my fingers go there and I like how it sounds.
exactly. That's my very professional process as well. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one.
No.
But yeah, so this came as a riff, and I was like, well, let's do something and see what we can come up with. And it was kind of let's do a fun sort of classic, a little Carole King-y kind of classic love song. But again, like I said, it's really the beginning of a relationship kind of thing when you're sort of feeling it out. So.
It's not the way you look, not the clothes you wear, not the way you walk, not the style of your hair. It's not the place you live, not the car you own. It's what you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. It's what you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. It's your sweet phrases, your warm embraces, and the fire in your eyes that melts me inside. Oh, you touch my soul, and I just can't let go. It's what you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. What you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. Caught in your web, enchanted web. Your arms surround me, I don't want this to end. I look in your eyes, and those butterflies grow restless. Oh, you touch my soul, and I just can't let go. It's what you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. What you do, what you do, what you do, what you do to me. Oh, what you do, what you do to me.
Oh, lovely.
I screwed up the lyrics on the chorus, but that's okay.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Tell me, how did you learn to play the piano?
By ear.
Wonderful.
When I was a little kid, when I was about 6, my mom played the piano. Well,
So did
apparently she
mine.
played the piano. I don't know if I've ever heard my mother play the piano, but the story goes that my mother played the piano. And my dad decided when I was about 6 years old to buy her a baby grand. And I'd always been a music person. Like, this sort of standing joke in my family is like, you would find me as a kid by just following my voice, because I sang everywhere I went. Like, when they were potty training me, and I was sitting on the toilet singing away, like, la, la, la.
Yes, me
Like,
too.
were you like that?
That's a story my mother likes to tell when
Yes.
yep.
So you are my people, you know. The embarrassing, but it is adorable. But yeah, like, that's what when I was a baby, apparently, again, I don't know because I don't remember, but my mom said that I used to, I didn't cry when I woke up. I used to sit in my little crib with all these Richard Scarry books and the little lowly, I loved them. And I had no idea what I was doing. Obviously couldn't read.
Right.
I just liked the pictures, and I would just sit there humming to myself. And they would come in because they were like, is she dead? Like, we hadn't heard from her in like 4 hours. And so they got the piano, and my brothers at the time, so I'm the youngest of 5, and I have much older siblings, and my brothers were taking lessons, and they were all in there like learning. They were like at that point where they were in the 80s, and they were all about learning all sort of like the punk and the 80s rock band stuff.
Yep.
And so my brother was taking piano lessons, and I remember hearing one of the songs, and my mother's name is Judy, and I knew the song Hey Jude, which I did not know at the time was not about a woman, but regardless.
Right.
And so one day I just sat down and just started figuring
You just
it
found
out.
it.
Yeah, my mom was so excited because she came home and she thought it was my brother practicing. And then there's me, and I couldn't even like reach the pedal. I was so little. And I was like, look, Mom. And they're like,
Look what
where
I
did she
did.
learn? Yeah. So I just, it was always by ear. And it's still.
That's so nice. That's so
Yeah.
cool. I grew up with music in the house all the time. My mother was a classical pianist. That's what she did for her whole life.
Oh, wow.
And when I was a teenager, she taught herself to play guitar so that she could give lessons to kids in the neighborhood to earn money to buy a new piano. And so I had to type up the lyric sheets and earn my lessons that way. So I took from her for one year when I was 14, 14, and then the rest is self-taught, same thing. And we have, our two girls both play piano. We have a 107-year-old grand Steinway sitting here in the green room. I was just sitting there going, listening to you play, going, I can't wait to have concerts live again in the green room and, have people like you who can really play it beautifully come and play it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I fiddle and fudge. I honestly, most of the time, don't know what I'm doing.
That's what I do.
I literally have this keyboard set up, and I'm sitting right next to a baby grand as well. But because the miking of it tends to be a little challenging
Yes.
with the live streaming, I was like, it's going to be a lot easier just to stick with the keyboard, which is not the same, but it's,
It is not the same, but it still sounds good.
Yeah, and it's also a lot easier to control when you're dealing with tech.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Minimize the problems.
I do. Well, this next song that I'm going to do is a song that I wrote from a prompt, and the prompt was That'll Have to Wait. I'm part of the Rhode Island Songwriters Association, and you've done this with them, I think, where they do a songwriters in the round each month, and the audience picks a prompt from a hat for the next month's performers. So you have 30 days to write a song from the prompt. And I've written a couple of songs using that technique, and I like it. My former life, I was a banker, and I was in business for nearly 20 years and worked on deadlines. So maybe it's the deadline of it. So I don't know.
Also, I think having a focus helps. Because I'm like you, I came from a business background, and having someone say, this is what you're writing about, I'm like, you have solved my problem. Now I can figure out the rest.
Well, see, isn't that like, remember when you were a kid and you'd had to write a paper on anything? And that was the worst part, is like anything that like opens everything up to the whole world. But if they gave you something to write about, then you're like, okay, I can do this. Thank you, Neil. Yes, I'm changing. He reminded me to change the PayPals back and forth.
Oh.
So I'm going to do that. But this song, the prompt was That'll Have to Wait. And I felt like when I heard that prompt, I'm like, all right, this is going to be another sad song about sometimes when you go through something extremely painful, you can't feel the pain all the way. You have to kind of put it aside, and you can only feel like this much, and the rest will have to wait. And I thought it might be about, I lost my younger sister really close to that time to breast cancer, and I thought it would be about losing her. But I decided to change the whole context of the song and make it a relationship song. And so that is what this song is about. Here we go. Staring at your face across from me, a stranger where a lover used to be, and the words that you are saying mean my world's about to shake, so the hearing that'll have to wait. When you took away your love so suddenly, didn't give me time to cry or even breathe. The tears will soon be red raining like a crossfire hurricane, but the feeling that'll have to wait. Now they say that God don't give us more than we can take. The pain of losing you, I just can't face. 'Cause a heart that's used to loving, you know, don't know how to bend, it just breaks. This heart may mend and learn to love again. I can't say with who or why or even when. As time goes by, the bitter fades and the goodness shall remain. But forgiving, that'll have to wait. Now they say that God don't give us more than we can take, but the pain of losing you, I just can't face. 'Cause a heart that's used to loving, you know, don't know how to bend, it just breaks. So forgiving, that'll have to wait. That'll have to wait.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
It's so funny how simple phrases that we sort of take for granted turn into such powerful ideas behind a song. Like, that'll have to wait. You know, it's something you say so
All the
often
time.
and don't even, and then you realize when you put it into something like that, the gravitas that goes with it of, it's gonna have to wait. Like, it's, I can't touch that right now, or I can't, it's gonna have, you know, and these simple, basic, like, the song that Tom and I wrote a few weeks ago it was a text. I sent a text about scheduling, and it was, he's like, well, when are you available? And I said, well, you know, it really depends on the day. And Depends on the Day became
That's perfect.
the song. And it
That's
was
excellent.
I will play it at some point, but I'm going to do a different prompt for you. This is the brand new one, so I actually have music in front of me because I need the lyrics.
Oh, I have one that I'm going to do the same thing, a new one that I have three quarters of it memorized, and one last verse I'm not sure I do, so the lyrics are over here too.
Yeah. And I also was rewriting lyrics this one, which probably we're doing too. Rewriting lyrics like a half hour before the show. Like, again, I don't like that word. I like this better. And
I know.
I'm still not sure.
That wordsmithing goes on, and it's funny because until you sing it out a few times, and it's sometimes you think it's done, and then you're singing, and this other word just appears while you're singing. You're like, oh, that's better.
Right.
That's better.
Right.
That's what it should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
The worst is when you've already recorded the song and you're like, oh.
I'll tell you a story that that's up around the bend. There's a line in it, and each moment's but a memory. And when we brought in, and I recorded it all, and it was all, we brought in the backup, my little choir backup singers to sing harmony, and my producer's like, okay, this is the line. Each moment sparks a memory. And I'm like, oh no, that's not the line. Yes, it is. Like, no, it's not. He's like, yes, it is. And he played it back, and he's like, why isn't it that line? I'm like, where were you when I was writing this song? Of course, that's a better word. But it's too late now. Too late now.
Yeah. And the other thing that's hard too is as a songwriter, and there's one thing to be a songwriter if you're not a singer and a songwriter, though. Sometimes I think that sometimes people don't realize certain words are very difficult to sing.
Yes.
You know, and they just don't sound right when you sing them. It just you sort of stumble over them, or they give the song more of a gritty feel, but not in a good gritty way kind of thing. It just doesn't like.
It doesn't flow. It's not smooth.
That's
it's not
There is no
natural.
smoothness. There's no. It's just like they should be silky. All words should be silky.
Silky. The thesaurus is my friend.
There's one right next to me. And the rhyming dictionary. The rhyming dictionary and the thesaurus are like my music Bibles. Yeah.
Here you go.
So this prompt was about a chance encounter with someone who would probably never remember you, but you've never forgotten it. Obviously, I've never forgotten this experience because I wrote a song about it. And it did actually happen. I was in college, and I was running through the trains. I was in college in D.C., and I was running through Union Station to grab the train to go visit my family for Thanksgiving. And some random guy stopped me, and this is the story.
I was running to catch the train, a college kid heading home on break, when you stopped me and held out a card. You said, I'm a scout for a TV show, and I wanted to let you know you are exactly what I'm looking for. And I caught my breath and thought maybe this is my moment, till you said, I'm here to find anyone I feel could fade into the background, who could disappear. No one special, completely forgettable. That's what he saw when he looked at me. I was just another nobody. Just another nobody. Stood unsure of what to do, 'cause inside I felt what he said was true, that I was little more than empty space. Oh, that inner demon I always hated suddenly seemed vindicated, and any self-esteem melted away. And the doubt already growing in my hand held tight to his perception. I'm here to find anyone I feel could fade into the background, who could disappear. So unspecial, completely forgettable. It's when he saw, when he looked at me. I was just another nobody. I was just another nobody. Stranger that never knew my name, or how deep he caught my heart that day. Would he recognize me if he saw me now? 'Cause though I try, I can't erase that cheerful voice and smiling face that so thoughtlessly cut me down, so thoughtlessly cut me down. I've had years to learn and grow, but in my heart I always know how the words we hear and say can forever change the way we see ourselves. Never wanted tried to believe I could fade into the background, I could disappear. No one special, completely forgettable. Now I can't help but wonder when I look at me. Am I just another nobody? Am I just another nobody? Am I just another nobody? Just another nobody.
It's a little sad.
Oh my God.
So he legit said to me, as he stopped me, as I was running to the train, "Hey, are you interested in acting?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been doing stage since I was a little kid. I love acting. I love it. I love it. I love it." He's like, "Do you ever want to be in movies?" And I was like, "Sure." And he goes, "Oh, so I'm casting for just average people that, blend in and are not noticeable and just you're perfect."
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, so sad.
Oh my word. What an achingly gorgeous song, though.
Oh, thank you.
That's my kind of song. When it gets you right. Oh, yes.
Turn that knife. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Sad that you had to go through that and the song had to come out of it, but
Well,
you
something
understand
good
people.
comes out of it, right? If you
Right.
get a song.
Yeah. Yep. That's the best songs are written that way sometimes. Oh, my friend Paul is here from San Diego. He says, "Fantastic song, Genevieve."
Hi,
Good.
Paul.
Yay.
Hello, nice to see you
Yay.
again. I remember you from the Sisters in Song show. I remember that. I
Yep.
vaguely remember the names as I was trying to pay attention and contact.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
And look, and Fatima says, "Lots of hearts." So, yay. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Well, when I was a kid, and we were having a bad day, my mom would always, say, "Take a deep breath. It's okay. Tomorrow's going to be a better day." Right? And she said it often to us. And I wrote this song thinking about that. And I wrote it for all the people out there who don't give up hope. They never give up hope that tomorrow is going to be a better day, even though sometimes it takes 2 or 3 or 5 or 12 tomorrows for it to be a better day. So I am going to say, I'm going to put you aside for a little bit. And, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. This is off of my second CD as well, and this is called "Tomorrow's Gonna Be a Better Day." Can you hear the guitar? Oh, here we go. Sun goes down in a town called Little Leg, many miles from home. She never thought she'd end up quite this way, that morning long ago. Child bride in a gown her mama made to hide the baby on the way. That was me. And through his eyes she could leave behind the pain from the wounds that never fade. She said tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be a the vows he had betrayed. She said tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. But tonight she grieves the dreams it might have been. At night she weeps for love that couldn't win. In the dark she lets the tears fall for a broken innocence. Cause tomorrow's gonna be a better day. She prays tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's got to be a better day. Sun goes down in this town called Little Egg. Her baby girl is grown, a mama now raising two kids on her own. Round and round and round the story goes. Say tomorrow's gonna be a better day. You'll see tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day.
I love that. And I love that it's a town in New Jersey.
I was going to say that before and I forgot because you grew up in New Jersey. And yes, the prompt, it was another song from a prompt, and the prompt was Little Egg.
Oh, no way. How
Yes,
convenient.
I know. Well, and I didn't think of it on my own. I went to Google and typed in Little Egg, and of course, the first thing that popped up was Little Egg Harbor Township, which was the town next to where my mom lived for many, many years and was a police dispatcher. So I knew it had to be a song about her. So the song is 90% biographical.
I love
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. We've got some nice comments too. Thank you, Ethan.
I am trying. So he's the one I wrote the song with. That's the Ethan I wrote the song. This other Ethan and I have written songs, a song together so far. We started a second one, we never finished. But yes, that's the other Ethan that I wrote the What You Do to Me with. Ethan.
Ah, nice. Nice going, Ethan. Now, do you collaborate often when you write?
I didn't for a long time. In fact, I'd ever only done one co-write before 2 years ago, I think, maybe 3 years ago. I always wrote by myself because I didn't, like when I came into music, I didn't know anyone. I literally just sort of showed up and taught myself everything.
Well, there's a reason we get along.
I know. I was like,
It's the same story.
very excited for when we can actually spend time in person together because I feel like you and I are going to need a lot of coffee and
Yes.
yeah, like a girls' weekend. But yeah, so I when I moved out to Los Angeles, I basically had taken a few classes on music and music business because I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to know everything. I need to know how contracts work. I need to know, and so being from the business background, Moved out there, and I didn't know any. I had a friend in LA, but I didn't know anybody in the music industry or the entertainment industry at all. And I just kind of winged it. Is there what is
Winged
a
it.
past?
Winged it.
Yeah,
I wung it.
Wing-
There we go, making up those words that rhyme again, right?
right. Yeah, and so I completely lost my train of thought. You asked me a question, and now I've totally lost it somewhere.
Do you
winged and
collaborate
wanged.
very often?
Oh yeah, so it was always me, like writing on my own, being a solo artist. And then when I moved back to the States from South Africa, I felt really very alone. I mean, I've just felt very alone in general, which was strange coming from a game reserve where I was alone most of the time. But I just came back, and it was 8 years gone, and it seemed, just another great line. We should be writing.
Yes,
these
it
down.
is, right? Yes, 8 years gone. Somebody, please write
Please,
that
somebody
down.
write that down. Take notes.
I'm going to write it down.
Oh,
But
thank
go
you.
ahead.
But yeah, so 8 years gone, and I came back, and it was like an entirely different country, and I'd also just gotten used to living in another country, and I just felt very isolated and alone and starting over because I moved to change complete careers. I was working in conservation and wildlife stuff, so no real music stuff. I mean, I occasionally here and there, and I did manage to get the keyboard there at some point, but I was really not doing much with music. And so thank God I've known Neil for as long as I have, because I, reconnected with him and his wife and spent God knows how much. And he was willing to write. Like, a lot of people weren't willing to write with me because they're like, where have you been? Well, most people thought I was new on the scene. I'm like, dude, I've been here since like 10 years before you were. I just disappeared for a little while.
Yep.
So I couldn't get anybody to write with me. And God bless Neil, he was like, sure. And I called him up one day, and I'm like, hey, I got to do a film and TV pitch, and it's about this. Do you want to try to write a song together? And we did, and it ended up being a really fun, cute, like Disney-esque song, which is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I realized that I really enjoyed I love collaborating with him. He's such an easy guy to work with. 'Cause
He
he's
is
just,
a nice guy.
yeah, he's like me. We're like not like every once in a while there's something that we're like, no, we're not changing that. But for the most part, it's like, okay, that works better.
That
I like
works
that.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely like your line better. Or I like your chord better. Or, we're not particularly precious about it most of the time, which is I think a lot of the reason why it works. And so we just started writing songs together, and then I started writing with a few other people, and now it's just become, I think also with the pandemic, it's been a way to feel connected.
Oh, that's, and I keep hearing from songwriters, like, I remember after Alice Howe did her first tour, we were chatting, and our mutual friend Betsy had said, your songwriting has grown, so much. She said, what do you attribute that to? And she said, co-writing. Co-writing has really, really helped. So, 8 years gone too. We have, good, Karen, thank you. Karen and Paul, 8 years gone.
You guys are awesome, thank you.
And, Terry, it's nice to see you here. Yay. But I haven't. All of my songs I write just to myself. And Neil knows this. I had one experience where I tried to co-write, and it really went south fast. It was not good. And that kind of really just shied me away from doing it. But I had Lisa Bastoni on a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, we should write together. And at first I felt that panic again. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take her up on it. So yeah. Hey, and Betsy's here too. Hey, Betsy.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Mwah. It's been a long time.
Yeah, co-writing is just one of those things where you have to, and I've definitely had co-write sessions with people where I'm like, yeah, this is just not going to work. You just don't work well together. And it is hard because it's a very personal thing.
It is very
the creative
personal.
process is a very personal thing. And so you have to definitely feel comfortable, I feel, with the person. And that makes a big difference. So good luck. It's like you said, it is a great opportunity to push yourself in different ways because you have someone else coming in with their own tool set. And you're like, or they think of that word that you couldn't think of, or that chord that there have been a lot of cases with that, particularly with Neil and I, where I'm like, man, I don't know. And he's like, what about this? And I'm like, that's it.
That feels right.
Yeah.
That feels right. You know what, Neil? You're right. I should. I'm going to call her. Actually, he said, sorry, I took it way too fast. You should write with Lisa. Now, who are you were talking about earlier about like a Carole King-ish kind of song. Was she one of your influences?
Oddly enough, no. I
Yeah.
love Carole King now. I love Joni Mitchell now. But when I was growing up, they were not in at all in my line of vision, essentially. I mean, I was an 80s, 90s kid. And so my influences growing up were a lot of, I loved Whitney Houston. I was like, she's got like good girl. Most of the
voice.
people that I knew, that was a voice.
Yeah.
Most of the female performers that I knew were, soft and whatever. And I was like, there's nothing soft about me. And I just loved that and having the musical theater background, I had a big voice.
Right.
And so I just loved her. And then in the 90s, it was like Indigo Girls and and then I got into Patty Griffin, and I was like, it was a really diverse background because most of my influences were actually men. So my biggest influences, aside from like a Whitney Houston and a Indigo, was in Natalie. I love Natalie Merchant.
Oh, so do I. Yes.
But it was guys. It was like I loved the Police. I loved Sting. I loved Peter Gabriel. Was huge. Still is huge. Annie Lennox was the other female that I was just like, I love you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so and growing up with 4 older siblings that listened to everything. I mean, my sisters were like big Air Supply fans, which was very interesting because my brothers were like Beastie Boys and AC/DC, and so
all
it
over
was
the place, right?
all over. Yeah, when people think like, what did you listen to growing up? And I was like, I don't know what I didn't listen. And my father was very into like 60s folk and then old school country, Marty Robbins kind of.
Oh yeah.
In the West Texas, you know, and I learned all of my harmonies singing Peter, Paul, and Mary. Like that's how I learned to harmonize. That and the Beach Boys.
Lovely. Yeah, music, we were all over the place too. You know, I saw David Bowie and the London Symphony Orchestra in the same week with Andre Previn conducting. And it was just, and everything in between. And I grew up, I loved rock, like I was a huge Queen, The Who, you know, I loved all of those growing up. And I really didn't like country at all. Like not at all. My dad was a huge country fan, and he was, you know, Johnny Cash. He loved Johnny Cash. And it wasn't until I was older that I learned to, appreciate it a lot more, you know, and delve into it. And Neil says, I'll send you $20. Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. Hell's bells.
There we go. So it was all over the place too. But I think that's what makes for interesting songs at the same time, you know, because you don't feel tied to a genre or, you know, tied to like I need to make it sound like this because that's what people seem to like. It's more like, no, you can pull from all over the place.
Which also makes it challenging though, because then people are like, well, what's your sound? And you're like, mine.
Exactly.
I don't know what to tell you because we have our sound, and it's a mix. It's a big blend of a bunch of different stuff.
And now for somebody to say, I don't know really who you sound like is like a compliment to me. I like that.
Yeah.
And my producer, the first time that I recorded my first CD, you know, he said something that was so freeing to me. It was like, and he just said, Kim, don't ever let anybody dictate your art. You know, there's no wrong. There's no wrong, you know, in lyric wise or, you know, musically, you know, as long as it's authentic, then that's where you got to go. So what have you got next? And then when you come back, you can tell us about Africa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's so many funny stories about that. In fact, I'm amazed I'm still alive, to be honest. But so I'm going to do the Tom's co-write. It depends on the day, and sort of not a prompt, but kind of a prompt. And it goes a little bit along with what you were just playing in terms of the ethos. So I figured it would be a good follow-up. Tom does you sent me a recording of him doing it, and I was like, oh, I hate you. It's just so beautiful. And I'm like, I can't even do my own song as well as he does.
Nobody knows when the storm will be over. Some say a long time, some say it draws closer. Sometimes you can take it, whatever they say. Sometimes you can't, depends on the day. Will we ever go back to the past? The good life sometimes you suspect it's all flown away. Sometimes it returns, depends on the day. Some days it's a sunrise with birds in the pines. Some days it's a drizzle, there's no end in sight. Sometimes you're just faking on a prayer and a wish. When a brave hallelujah escapes from your lips. So no matter your song, just know it's okay if you're not really sure you know how to play it. You find your own tune to guide your way. And whether you sing it depends on the day. You find your own tune to guide your way. Whether you sing it, oh, whether you sing it, whether you sing it, oh, whether you sing it, whether you sing it, depends on the day.
Seemed appropriate. Oh, I can't hear you.
There we go. That
Oh,
was
there we go.
so lovely. I had to wait and let that last note just completely fade. That was beautiful. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
He does it in typical TPR way where it's just so, it's like a whisper. It's just like, it's like the essence of a song. It is so just,
It completely draws you in.
yeah.
And
I'm
you feel
I
like-
can't even get my voice that soft if I tried.
And it feels like you're singing to just me. I love that. I love when that's a wonderful feeling. What a gorgeous song. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done. Hey. I'm going to take it in a different direction. But first, talk to me about Africa.
Oh gosh. So I ended up in South Africa completely on a fluke. I mean, it was kind of a fluke and kind of not. I mean, I joke all the time that there's sort of this image of me with my family, especially, where they're like, she just flies by the seat of her pants. I'm like, no, there is a plan. Most things don't ever go to it. There is a vague semblance. There's like a structure of a plan. I have an idea. Sometimes I don't have much more than that. Oftentimes I have a lot more and nothing goes right. So I just kind of wing it. So I had burned out of music. I had hit the point where the last year that I toured before I moved overseas, I played 248 shows. And
Wow.
I was booking everything myself. I was promoting everything myself. I was
That's exhausting. Oh my God.
driving myself all over the country by myself. And the funny thing is, as a keyboard player, you'd think people would be like, oh, can I help you? No, they would sit there and watch me walk by and be like, that looks really heavy. And I'm like, yeah, it is. My mom's like, how do you get those muscles in your arms? I'm like, have you seen what I carry around?
And they are heavy. The keyboard is heavy.
Yeah, it's a lot of gear. I've tried learning the guitar and I'm terrible at it. I do know a few chords, but not well. It's like when the kids learn violins, it's like screeching.
Right.
That's kind of my guitar playing. So I'm getting there. But yeah, so I needed a break and I needed a vacation. And one of my roommates from college actually lived in South Africa, and wildlife was always my big thing growing up in the conservation. As you know, my first song about the oceans, and my first poem was about the California condor and DDT and how we were I was like such a little raging vigilante on a soapbox. You know, and so I just wanted to go, and I was getting back into photography. I had taken a break from photography for a while, and it was always I just loved it. So I just called her and I was like, hey, what are you doing? I have like a month. No one can go on a vacation for a month, so I'm coming to visit you. You don't have to be there the whole time, but like, I'd like to see you at least some point of it. Ended up happening that she had to go out on a last minute business trip to Papua New Guinea, as one does. And so I didn't see her until the last night I was there. Right. But I ended up going, and I did 2 weeks of volunteering with a women's center in Kailicha, which is one of the townships outside of Cape Town, or in Cape Town. But it was basically a women's business. They were teaching women business skills, and they actually had a daycare for the kids so that the kids weren't on the street. And then I did 2 weeks up in KwaZulu-Natal, which is the northeast province just south of Mozambique on the coast, and was working doing priority species wildlife monitoring. I was basically spending my days running out, well, not running literally, but driving after, because if you run in the bush, usually you'll get eaten by something.
But you don't want to run and attract followers, right?
Yeah, or run faster than the next person. That's sort of the key to survival. So I was essentially following wild dogs, so African painted dogs, cheetah and black rhino. So essentially critically endangered wildlife that they were tracking and monitoring for getting a sense of populations and, you know, whether animals were getting poached and when they were getting out. So South Africa is a bizarre country not bizarre, but a unique country in Africa because it has all of its game reserves fenced. The public, the provincial, all of them. Yeah, they all have to be. It's the law.
I worked for the International Fund for Animal Welfare for a couple of years.
I thought you know.
Yes, so yes, I do. And I was, I did fundraising and I did major donor campaigns, and then I also was their photo librarian, so I worked with photographers around the world.
Oh my gosh.
So I know of what you
actually
speak.
Crossed at some point.
Yeah, I know of what you speak.
Yeah. So anyway, I went and I just fell in love with it, and then I met a South African and I fell in love with him, and I was like, yeah, why not? And I literally just got back to California, and I had talked to the company that I was doing the monitoring with. I had a conversation with them about possibly starting up a liaison program with U.S. students, essentially, because there are volunteer programs, and then they're legit. Like, this was a legit program where they were doing true scientific research, and I felt terrible because they'd have volunteers coming in. Like, I had some background, but most of the volunteers coming in were really just wanting to go on safari, and these guys had to they're like, we can't sit and watch the elephants. We've got to make sure that the wild dogs are still alive. You know, we've got to keep tracking them. That's our job. We send the information over to, you know, the Wild Dog Advisory Group, the Endangered Wildlife Trust, World Wildlife Fund. All of these organizations are depending on us to send them the data. So we can't just sit here and lollygag with the elephants, as much as I know it would be great. So I was going to start up a program with them as a liaison with U.S. universities and move to South Africa. And they're like, yeah, we don't have any money to pay you. And I'm like, cool. Cool. So I literally just winged it and just kept sort of finagling my way into and again, photography. I started doing the photography and found that I had a knack my background was as a writer, essentially. That's where I really started. I started as a writer at Nat Geo when I was in college. And so I just kind of kept parlaying that into jobs where they were like, well, we need someone who can take all the science, the really complicated science, and distill it down so that everybody understands what's going on.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than having somebody speak to you in whatever your industry lingo is, and you're like,
here, you have no
idea.
idea.
A whole lot I know what the and are. Right. And that's it. That's all I'm understanding in this conversation. And so it just kept I just kept getting jobs where they're like, oh, you were a performer. Great. You're comfortable around everybody. You can talk to anyone. Yeah. You have clearly no shame. And
you can present to anybody.
You can present to anyone. You're entertaining and you can tell a good story and take photos. Well, awesome. Can you not get eaten by anything? I'm like, I will do my best. So that's how I ended up there.
In 8 years, that's a significant amount of time to be away from the States. It really is.
Yeah, and I did, I would come back for very short periods of time just to visit, just to, feel like I'm still alive. But it was very, and living on a game reserve and being so remote was very different because you're not, in the cities in South Africa, like Johannesburg, Cape Town, it's like New York and LA, they've got incredible infrastructure, amazing restaurants, great, they're fantastic, but That's not where I was.
Right.
I was,
You were out.
closest town is 2 hours away. Like you couldn't, if you forgot something at the shops, you just lived without it for a while. Like I remember coming back and my dad's like, so what did you, like what are you most excited about? I was like, I have a washing machine
And a dryer. See, things that, we take for granted, right?
Yeah.
Things that we take
And
for
my
granted.
clothes aren't all orange because like when you had to wash your stuff, hand wash your stuff, and there's so much iron in the water. So all of my clothes had an orangey tint.
Crazy. That's very, very cool, though. I mean, I'm sure you could write volumes about the 8 years that you were there.
Yeah, there are definitely. Well, I did write the book. Like I have a children's book about a praying mantis that I raised. An actual, yeah. So that's the first part of it. But
What's the name of the book? We'll type it in here.
I'll show you. Hey, can you see it?
Santiago.
True Tales of a Little Bug in a Big World. Yeah.
A little bug in a big world.
Because that's what you do when you live in the middle of nowhere. You raise
You're right. Yeah.
insects.
You raise insects.
But yeah, there are, and that's something that I've very much toyed with. And then honestly, because I've got to get I was telling you about my throat surgery. The trachea. So I'm not going to be singing for probably a few weeks at least.
Okay, so everybody needs to, take a deep breath and send huge positive vibes and lots of love to Genevieve's way for her surgery that's coming up in a week.
Next Friday. Yeah.
Next Friday, yeah. Yep.
But there's a good opportunity for me to be like, hey, now I can write all these things down. Like I started writing, but never finished. And now I feel like because I can't talk. I'm going to be like signing,
And there's one other skill that you'll be learning, right?
Right.
Well, that kind of segues sort of a little bit into the next song that I'm gonna write. It's a new song that I recently finished, and I've only played it out probably 2 other times. And I'm Native American, and I was born in Juneau, Alaska, and I'm of the Tlingit tribe. And so I don't know a whole lot about the tribe because growing up, because of colonization, when my mother remembers when she was a kid having her mouth taped shut if she spoke her native language. And so we were really assimilated into the non-native culture. So I've been trying to learn little bits here and there when I can. And like I was saying before, you start playing the guitar, you start playing a riff. And I started playing that, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what it's about, but I think it's going to have to do with something Native American-ish. And so I started doing some research, and I came across, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called the Seven Fires Prophecy. And it's really, if you don't know it, everyone that's listening should absolutely go and look it up. But it's an Anishinaabe prophecy that marks the phases of life of the people on Turtle Island. And Turtle Island is the Native American name for the North American continent. And the 7 fires represent, each one is a time period. Each fire is a time period in the timeline of humanity. And we're supposedly in the 7th fire time right now, where we have a choice. We can go back to the old ways of taking care of the earth or not. And it's an important crossroad because one's going to lead to good things and one's going to lead to not good things. But it's an incredible, incredible prophecy. And this song is about that. So I'm going to sing it for you. Go like this. Oops, I did it again. There we go. It's not yet recorded, hopefully soon. And you know what? It's in the wrong key. I knew it didn't sound right. So we're going to move the capos a little bit. Make sure it's in the right key. That's better. And it doesn't want to do that. If anybody knows capos, they can be. There we go. They traveled across the land west on Turtle Isle. They traveled across a land sparked by the first fire. Look for the sacred shells as prophets did foretell, stopping at the site where food on the water fell. And the fire still burns. Yes, the fire still burns. A shadow dark and long loomed across this fertile land. The shadow dark and long waved its venal hand. All that was known lay in ashes of betrayal, pieces of their promises littered on the trail. And the fire still burns. Yes, the fire still burns. And the sun will rise, and the wind will cry, and the sea will heal our tears. See the eagle soar, hear the drumming roar, all gather and seek the circle. Now the seventh flame is nigh, heed what has been lost. The seventh flame is high, attention to the cost. Awaken the wisdom as bitter rivers flow. Choose the path to unify, return to what is known. And the fire still burns. Yes, the fire still burns. And the sun will rise, and the wind will cry, and the sea will heal our tears.
That was really cool.
Thank you.
I feel like we definitely have a lot to talk about.
And I pointed to my older daughter your way because she is a college student. She's a junior at Wellesley, but she is majoring in environmental studies and economics. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely have her. She feel free, call me whenever. Yeah, that is, and it's like people ask me about music. They're like, "Oh, isn't that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, music is. I love music. It is definitely part of who I am." But the environmental stuff has always been. And the thing is, when people extricate it, like you said, like we have a choice, and it's about all of this. You know,
Right.
It's about all of us, and
Right.
it's not separate from. We're all interconnected with all of this stuff.
That is just so important. And I think like this whole past couple of years, I really feel like humanity is in it's in a shift right now. And I hope that we pay attention to the lessons we've learned during this pandemic, and once we are back into the quote unquote normal world, that we don't continue as we were in a lot of ways, like things like how many people can work from home now, how many cars are not on the road now. When I was with the bank years ago, I was charged with writing the policy for the very first, like they called it work at home program back then, because our offices were in the top levels of Copley Place in Boston, and it's very expensive real estate. So we were charged with trying to cut costs without cutting human resources, and so the work at home program was one of those things. And there were so many departments and so many people that were like, oh no, my employees need to be here, like people can't be productive at home. They can't be productive at home. And, all these years later, we're saying, yes, they can. Yes, they absolutely. Not everybody, but a good number of people most certainly can. Do we really need these great big buildings? Do we really need people driving into the city every single day? Single people in a car doing it? No, we can do better. So.
Right. And it's so funny when you have all these corporations that are like, look at my LEED certified building, and yet I'm creating a bunch of functionally obsolete products that in 2 years you'll have to replace. Right. Like, you don't get, that's great, but doesn't
You're losing sight of the big picture.
Yeah. So it's so frustrating because it's obviously your individual choices are a huge thing, and it's like we have a choice to consume. But I always go back to the whole, and I do some school visits with students and do like environmental science stuff and talk about how science and art are two sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. And I always go back to that, the triangle for recycling. It starts with reduce, reduce, reuse. Recycle is essentially last ditch resort. The ideal thing is don't buy us. Like, we don't need all of this stuff. We keep making all this stuff. Right. And it's not making anyone happier. In fact, I would argue that it probably makes people unhappier because they're that much more separated from the connection to things and to each other and to the world around them. And people talking about how they could finally hear birds for the first time. I'm like,
they've always been there. They've always been there. But that's good that they're paying attention.
Right. Like you got to look at the silver lining of, well, at least they noticed. They could have still not noticed, and that's But,
right. Absolutely. But so moving along, because I could talk to you about this all day long, but we want to hear some music.
So I'm actually going to do a cover, and I'm debating.
I'm going to do a cover tonight too.
Oh, good. All right, this is the cover part of the show. And I'm back and forth because I'm thinking either one of these would be sort of appropriate in different ways. I was thinking What a Wonderful World or Songbird because I love them both. But I feel like after you've just said that it should be a What a Wonderful World. If I can remember how to do this.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Me too. Let's see if I can remember how to play it. This might be the wrong. Speaking of, I need a capo for the piano. Wait, hold on. This might be the wrong key.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom from me to you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yay!
I realized I got to riff on something, and I'm like, wait, I forgot the chord. Make it up.
Quick, just move around. You'll get there. You'll get there. No, that was
That's the beautiful
lovely.
thing about, thank you. The beautiful thing, though, about doing covers is like I'm making it my own.
I love to do that. And I was going to do a different. I'm gonna not do the cover that I was going to do because you did this song.
Oh.
The cover I was going to do was a Gladys Knight song, but I'm going to do. Well, maybe I will do it. How about that? We can switch direction, right? We can.
course.
Okay. I'm going to turn this down and I'm going to trade guitars because. Give me 1 second. Talk about your website.
Talk amongst yourselves. My website. So I have two websites. I have the Genevieve Music website, which is essentially strictly my music stuff, and then I have my Second Life with Late Shift Media, which is essentially my production company that does music, books, and photography. So if you're looking to see what my photography looks like, or the books, or listen to the music, Late Shift Media is my whole thing about it is sort of my thing I've realized over the years is I feel like I'm the love song to the underdog, which is also a song which I have to play at some point, but I probably
guess
do it tonight 'cause I don't
so,
know. Yeah, I haven't really finished it. But yeah, so that's what it's all about. Like the songs, even the books, the photography, it's about showing these amazing things in the world and giving a voice to what doesn't have it.
Perfect. Well, this song is one of my favorite songs ever, and I used to listen to it on my little green transistor radio, and it really doesn't have a good segue from the song you just did, other than it's a classic song that people love, and I changed it around a little bit to make it my own. Like the original song is in a major key, and I put it in dadgad tuning with suspended chords, so you know. So in other worlds, you would be, and yes, Neil, you can be a Pip. All of you can be Pips at home because you know this song. So hopefully you'll sing it, and I expect to see Genevieve singing back there in the little green room that I tuck her into. Too much for the man, so he's leaving a life just come to know. He said he's going back to find what's left of his world. A world is left behind, not so very long ago. He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. He said he's going back to find a simpler place and time. I will be with him on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. He kept dreaming, ooh, that one day he'd be a star. Well, he sure found out the hard way that dreams don't always come true. So he's pawned all his hopes, and he's even sold his old car. Bought a one-way ticket back to a life that he once knew. He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Said he's going back to find a simpler place and time. I will be with him on that midnight train to Georgia. Ooh, I'd rather live in his world. I'd rather live in his world. I would rather live in his world than live without him in mine. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go on a midnight train. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go on a midnight train. Well, I've got to go. I've got to go on a midnight train.
Oh, that was such an awesome version of that. And I love that harmonic at the end.
Ah,
That was so
thank
great.
you.
We're
Thank
singing in
you.
the background. Neil and I apparently were both like half
Yay.
of Massachusetts probably could have heard us hipping away.
That's wonderful. It's such a fun song. Hey, Jane. Excellent. Thank you, Jane. My friend Jane is here. Jane is a classical ballet instructor.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. She gave me one of my very first gigs. I had such horrible stage fright, really debilitating stage fright for a long time, and I couldn't play out. And I didn't start playing out until 2014. But at one of our girls' dance recitals at Cape Cod Community College, the Tilden Arts Center, Jane talked me into playing a version of Here Comes the Sun. And so it was lovely. And my friend Misao Koyama, who is a jazz pianist, accompanied me on it. So it was one of the very first times I actually played and sang on a stage. So I owe that to Jane. But isn't that a fun song? I love that song.
Yeah. You can't not sing along with that. Like you just can't not.
You gotta be a pip. You gotta be a pip. So I think we have time for one more each. How does that sound?
Sure.
Does that
Sure.
sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
I
Unless you want to do two more. Do you have two more planned? We can do two
I
more.
have a ton of songs, so
Well, let's do
long
two
you
more.
want to
What the
play, I will just keep playing.
Let's play two more then.
Okay.
So tell us what you got coming up.
So I'm actually doing this is a co-writing kind of evening, Neil, and actually this is a triple write. I was visiting Neil. I was recording the last EP that I did, which was supposed to be a CD that got broken into an EP because we realized about halfway through that the songs really kind of weren't going to work together as a full CD. Plus, I wanted to get it out, and with my brother sick, I just really wanted to get it finished. So we kind of broke it in half. And anyway, I was there recording, and Robin Bateau was there. And so we sat down and we're like, let's write a song, because why wouldn't you? And so this is what we came up with. It's called How Do We Begin? And it's funny because, we've kind of gone our separate ways, and I added in an extra part, a little extra chorusy part. And I think we all play it differently, which is actually the coolest thing about music, is that we all do it differently. But yeah, so it's called How Do We Begin?
How did we begin? Strangers at the start, gathering the nerve to risk each other's heart. Both of us so young, both of us naive, wishing on a starry sky, willing to believe. Round and round and round we go, where we stop nobody knows, spinning wild out of control. We all fall down. When did we begin? Begin to fall apart. Neither of us mentioning the other's broken heart. Dancing around the silence, the deafening divide, searching for a way to push the bitterness aside. Twirling madly around the floor, lead or follow, never show, always wanting more, wondering what we're dancing for. How do we begin to learn to say goodbye? Melodies unraveled, our steps are out of time. So as the music fades, we bow and turn, and then we find another lover and learn to dance again. We'll find another lover and learn to dance again.
Nothing like starting a song in 4/4 and then being like, let's go 3/4 now. Let's make it a waltz.
That's wonderful, though. Just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
It worked though too, because it was like, it literally was like dance, the dance of the relationship, and
Right.
hitting those choruses is where like all the parts start falling, everything starts falling apart. So it makes sense that it's like a manic 3/4 waltz fault. Like, yeah, at least in my mind it did.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Perry agrees. Yes. Nice comments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
You.
We are really just so happy that you're hanging out with us tonight. And I mean, I'm having a great time.
I am having a great time. I'm so appreciative of you inviting me. Thank you so much, Kim.
I'm glad you said yes. And we had such a good time. Genevieve produced a show a couple of weeks ago in celebration of Women's History Month. And it was a marathon of performers. What was it, a 4-hour show?
It was a 4.5-hour show, yeah.
A 4.5-hour show. And, because that wasn't long enough, she's doing it again, or did it again. No.
And I'm hopefully do another. Well, I was going to do one for April too, but I was like, I'll just make it into a monthly thing. I'm like, what am I thinking?
Because I have nothing else to do.
Right. You know what it was though? There's so many amazing performers in our community. Well, just not even in our community, just music performers. And I got so sick of seeing bills that were like man, female, token, like person of color or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to have a space for. So the Sisters in Song series was born, and I was going to do one for April, but I think with the surgery, I might have to push it off to May.
Right.
Just because I don't think I'm going to be able to even MC to speak.
It's going to be, that'll be, you need to take care of you so that you can come back and sing some more.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't lose that voice. We can't. The next song I'm going to do is a song that I wrote. I lost my sister, I mentioned earlier, my younger sister, to breast cancer 3 years ago. And when we got the call that her passing was imminent, hopped a bus from where I am on Cape Cod to where she was in northern New Jersey, hoping to make it in time to say goodbye. I did not make it in time to say goodbye. And this song is about that, and it's called Angels Fly. Let's try it again. There we go. In a seat by the window, southbound on I-95, praying the driver will get me to you in time. The whole ride my mind's eye is seeing your life flashing by. Angels fly. The things I remember, too many to share in these lines. More than the markers of the miles I count rolling by. My heart is breaking 'cause you won't see 49. Angels fly. More than a sister, a daughter, a partner, so much more than a friend. And though I was older, you were the wiser, 'cause you knew that in the end, angels fly. sit by the window, northbound on I-95. Ring on my finger, proof that you walked in this life. And now that it's over, I can't even whisper goodbye. Angels fly more than a sister, a daughter, a partner, so much more than a friend. And though I was older, you were the wiser, 'cause you knew that in the end, angels fly. Angels fly, angels fly. Fly, angel fly.
My brother was 49,
Oh, goodness.
but he was the older brother. Yeah.
Instead of younger, yeah. Cancer sucks, right?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And you know, you really do always think you have more time. You know, you do. You're like, this is, they're gonna be here forever. It's, and they're not.
And they're not. And it does, time does go by. So in a blink, I mean, I found that with, raising our daughters, somebody had, I used to ask people when our oldest daughter was first born, if you could give me one little bit of advice as a new parent, what would it be? And they would say, really try to appreciate every moment, because the days go by slow, but the years fly by.
Yeah.
And that's a line I use in one of my songs. The days move slow, but the years fly by. And it's absolutely true. It does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is so very true. And
Yeah.
again, it's, I think about it, and a weird, again, sort of bizarre silver lining, I guess, for you as well. Like, Peter passed away February 6th, 2020. And so we were able to actually have a funeral for him, and, because everything shut down like 3 weeks afterwards. So we actually could be with him for the last year and spend time with him and see him. And it was, it was like I'd come back from South Africa, and I found out like the month I got back, hey, Pete's got cancer. I'm like, wait, what? And they only told me because I was he was the head team doctor for the 76ers. And
Oh, my goodness.
I found out, they didn't bother to tell me. They're like, yeah, well, you're going down to one of the games and you'll just, he has no hair. And I'm like, what? They're like, well, he has cancer. I'm like, that's how you tell me?
Oh, my God.
But they didn't, they just couldn't figure out. They're like, we didn't want to tell you there because we didn't want you to panic, because there's nothing,
Right.
You're 10,000 miles away.
Right. But still.
I know.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
still.
But I was, you think about the way that timing works out, and because I was home, I was able to be there. And they had 2 teenage kids, and when my sister-in-law had to go to the hospital and spend like days on end there, I could go and take care of the kids, and I was the only one in my family that had the flexibility really to do that. So
It was a gift. There were silver linings to the terrible loss, but that's time you might not have otherwise had.
right.
And that's
Right.
something you'll cherish forever.
Yeah. And you do realize, like, I think about 8 years, and going back and thinking, I was there for 8 years. And it's like nothing changed, but everything changed. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Ah.
All right,
All right.
we are going to wrap it up with one last song. From
Okay,
each of
so
us.
I was given the song that you just played. I was like, well, I should play my brother's song. But then I was like, that's going to be really kind of sad. So I'm debating between that and my lullaby. I don't know. You have a preference?
I don't. Whatever feels like the way you want to end this tonight.
I'll do this one for Pete, because I'm not going to be singing for a while. So I'm going to. Yeah. He was, the big brother kind of thing. It's like they're indestructible. We used to call him Superman because we were convinced that he was. he was just like a machine. They hired 3 doctors to basically take over for him when he passed. So it tells you a lot about, he's just a very intense guy, and didn't like to show any weakness. And I thought I'd written this song initially about myself, and I realized a lot of it was more about him, and it's called Fragile. Thank you guys all for showing up tonight and being here. And Kim, you're awesome. I can't wait till we can actually hang out in person.
Standing there like Achilles, no one can bring you down. But if you read those stories, you know that heroes often fall. Maybe if you don't waver, nothing can touch your heart. You can be strong and stable for me to lean upon, but I'm not the one who needs the rescuing. And I'm trying to understand your reasoning, why you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile. No, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile, just like me. I can see through the armor, I can see through the stone. Why must you be a martyr when you don't have to stand alone? Just like a Don Quixote, chasing what isn't real, hiding beneath the layers of the feelings you won't feel. But your eyes betray the home that beats in you. There is no more need to fight, nothing to prove. Oh, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile. Oh, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile, just like me. You can hold your head up high and try to make it on your own, and continue to endure in your own way. You can hold your world inside, intent on standing alone. Loneliness and pride don't make you brave. You can let go. You have to let go. You don't need to be strong all the time. Oh, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile. No, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. Yeah, you're fragile. Oh, you don't want me to see that you're fragile. No, you don't want me to see that you're fragile, just like me. Just like me.
I should have had a box of Kleenex close by. That's oh, we're all fragile. That's just beautiful. What a lovely, lovely song for him. Yay.
It seems like a good song for everybody this year too.
Yeah.
You know, when everybody thought they would be so strong and I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and then like this is forget everything else. Like this has just been a trying year on so many levels. And
I know and I don't know about you, but I have days that, you know, I'm fine, I'm good. I mean, you know, I like being home. Our family, we love each other. We like being around each other, and our house isn't big, but it's big enough where everybody can find their own space if they need to. But then there's some days that I'm like, oh my God, is this going to end? This is ever going to end? Because we've been I have asthma, my daughter has asthma. We've been very, very, very careful. I mean, I've been to the dump. That's it.
yeah, we've been
You
pretty.
know?
Ethan also has he's got very bad asthma. I have a heart condition, and we've tried to be super
careful
strict about it as well.
Yeah. So I think if everything, you know, when everything gets back to a little more normal, I think everybody's gonna, because we're on guard now. We're you know, in survival mode, and that's stressful. You know, so we're gonna need to have a great big music party.
Yes.
to get it all out. But I will come back and have you come back, and we'll say our good nights. I'm going to finish it up with a song that I wrote. Like I said, I am very fortunate. You know, I have a wonderful family, but next to them, the most important thing to me are my friends. And so I wanted to just write a song as a tribute to my friends. And so this is called I'll Always Be a Friend. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hear you're having cloudy days. You're feeling low. It's hard to find the silver lining beyond the storm. But I know there's a better place not far on the other side. The skies are clear, the sun is shining, and days are warm. So put your hand in mine, we'll take it one step at a time, and lay your troubles along the side of life's long road. And know whatever lies ahead, you can count on me until the end. No matter where the road may bend, the winds may blow, I'll always be a friend. I wish I had the answers to the questions ailing you. And if I could, I'd bear the pain you're going through. But we can take some time to talk and sing a song or two, and find some comfort in the words that ring true. So put your hand in mine, we'll take it one step at a time, and lay your troubles along the side of life's long road. I know whatever lies ahead, you can count on me until the end. No matter where the road may bend, the winds may blow, I'll always be a friend. You don't have to be alone as long as I'm around, 'cause I'll be there to share the load. So lay your worries down. Put your hand in mine, we'll take it one step
your song. Oh, there, puppy came out. Puppy came out.
Oh, yay. Hi, Louie. Yay.
I could listen to your songs all day long. You're such
Same
an
to
amazing
you.
writer and performer and just awesome.
Ah, coming from you, that is high praise. Thank you very much. And I feel the same about you, Missy. Yes, yes, yes. So thank you all for tuning in. And oh, look at that big boy. Yay. And we're so happy that you're here. www.genevieve/music.com, kimmobergmusic.com. And if you guys stream, which everybody does, we all stream because it's convenient. But you know what? Go by your favorite artist's website and make a donation. You know, if you don't want to play the CD, that's fine. But go and hit that donate button, and you know, because that's how we make our money. And making records and making recordings is incredibly expensive, especially because we want to do it as, you know, the highest quality that we can for you guys. So to do that costs a little bit of money. So anything that you can donate, you know, if you like listening to our music, drop a 20 in the donate, you know, that would be wonderful. But Genevieve, good luck with your upcoming surgery. It's going to go well. I know it. It's going to go well. And then do you have anything scheduled for after that? Any shows or anything?
I have not. I didn't schedule it because when I found out about it, I was like, I don't know what this is going to mean for my voice. Like, I don't know how long it's going to take.
Right.
And I didn't know how long it was going to be before I was really comfortable. And also because it's like, I haven't realized, but I've had a thing in my throat, like it's about 2/3 of my windpipe. So I have no idea what my singing is going to be like coming off of this. And if I'm going to have to change so much of my
Right.
singing to, you know, so it's going to, I figured I'd give myself like 2 or 3 months to really get back into it. And I also wanted to, like, because I wasn't sure, besides live streaming, I wasn't sure how I felt about getting out and playing in public again. Like, I know you were talking before about the wineries, and if it's outdoors, yes, definitely. But I don't think I could do anything indoors for another few months at least.
I'm with you. I am totally with you. I'd rather everybody just be safe for a little while longer. You know, hang in there. You know, we're there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We're so much better than we were this time last year. So everyone be patient and just, I don't want to do this again. So
Oh, God, no. Yeah.
I don't want to do it again. So if everyone could just be patient and wait it out, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But
But if
thank-
you're, I was going to say, I have a Patreon page. If people wanted
Yes.
to find out what's going on, they can that on my Facebook and stuff. And I have a newsletter. If you sign up on the website, I send
Could you
out
just
stuff.
real quick talk to people what Patreon is so they know?
Okay, so Patreon, I always forget that not everybody knows. Patreon is basically sort of a patronage kind of system. You're basically your website, and you can put on it as an artist whatever you want. For me, I do, depending on what tier you're in, I'll do like free downloads, I'll do first listens, sometimes exclusive listens for songs, or I'll do like different versions of songs. But as a photographer and as a writer and everything, I also do, like right now I'm working on videos because I do a podcast. And I was doing some like behind the scenes of video editing. And then when we were in the studio, Neil and I was recording, and I was doing videos of that and like what the recording process is. And it's also like you can get your own special swag, or, you know, I try to not make more stuff, so I don't have that much stuff. But then there's like private live feeds, or if you want a personal tutorial on something and I have any background in it, like I was doing photography classes, so I gave people access to the photography classes that I teach.
So what it is too is it's a monthly subscription.
Yes.
So what you can do is you can support your favorite artists by going to their Patreon page. It's set up like a website page. And you can donate as little as $3 a month and sign up for a subscription where, you know, that's an ongoing donation that's, you know, automatically deducted from wherever you choose, or, you know, much higher, whatever you can afford and whatever you like. And in return for your monthly subscription, you get all kinds of really cool perks, like Genevieve was just talking about. You know, each artist has their special things that they offer on their Patreon page. And, you know, like our friend Rod Abernethy does, you know, his robots that he builds. And, you know, exactly. Yeah. Some people do cooking lessons. Some people do, like you said, photography, because so many artists have a number of different outlets for their creativity, not just music. But in this age of streaming where we literally get nothing for the music that is streamed, it's a good way to show your support to your favorite artists. So go ahead and check out. Is there a way to check out your Patreon without, like, is it something you can inquire about and go look at before you decide if you want to?
Yeah. If you go to my website, there's a link to it immediately right there, and you can just click on it, and it'll give you, like, there's some of the posts are free posts that are for anyone who's, wants to check out what's there. And then there's like teaser little bits about what the other posts that are locked for the patrons are. So, but you can, if you just go to patreon.com/GenevieveV, but the link is on my Genevieve-music.com website. And you can check it out and see what is on there. There's a whole bunch of different, they're all named after animals, not surprisingly. And they're all, it's all kinds of fun stuff. And I like what I like the most about it is that it's more of because social media has been so difficult trying to connect with people. I'm more and more, it's just getting harder and harder to reach people.
Because of Facebook's algorithms, you can go to my music page and see that I have, 1,200 followers. But when I write a post, it doesn't go to those 1,200 followers. No. Whereas if you have your newsletter from your website and you have a list of people that are signed up for your newsletter, when you send out a newsletter, it goes to everyone, every single one of those people. Yeah. When you have a Patreon page and you're going to do a behind the scenes, this is how I wrote this song, to your Patreon followers, it's going to go to each and every one of them. Whereas with Facebook, it's hit or miss, and there's no way for us to control who sees what and when.
Right. So it's also a fun opportunity, I think, for people to have more access. Like I do, and it probably doesn't seem like this, but I do tend to be a lot more cards close to the chest in general, because I've just had some really bad experiences, and people seeming to think that as an artist you are then a commodity, and you're like an object. And not having boundaries and stuff. And for me, it's sort of a safe space to be able to share and also get feedback. I love getting the feedback from people, and they can actually reach me, and I can talk to them and say, what do you think about this? Do you like this? Well, do you have any input on this? Or, I'm working on a song right now that was like, here are the options. Here are some themes or subjects, and here's some styles. Which one, what do you think? And then it was like a poll, and it was like, okay, pick it and I will write the song.
So it's another way to communicate directly with your fans.
So people get input into, and I appreciate that, because one of the hardest things as a touring artist is you don't get a whole lot of time to really talk to your fans. You don't, because you're going from one thing, and also by the time you're done with a show, most of the time you're just, I'm
15 minutes, and then you're, exactly.
And
your
I'm
energy's drained.
And I'm just like useless. I can't have like full on conversation. I can't create logical sentences. I can't even do it now. And this is a way to just be able to establish and build relationships with people. And I actually offer coaching and mentoring too, like if people are songwriters and they want some feedback on a song or all kinds of stuff. And I like the community sense of it, where you have direct access to each other, and you don't have to go through the filter of what an algorithm is and all of that.
Right. And if there's one thing we've learned during this pandemic, it was a reminder of how incredibly valuable art is. Mm-hmm. It really, really is. And I'm a huge Counting Crows fan, and Adam Duritz once said, what's left? What do we have now of past civilizations but the art? And it's true. It's absolutely true. So with that, we will say thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we can't wait to do it again. And everybody take care of yourselves. Be safe.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim, and everybody have a wonderful night.
All right. Good night.